Jorge, Sebastian, and Erik. Today we'll be talking to you about Cleanology, a very local dry cleaning chain that owns 2 stores in the Glendale area. So just to go briefly over our agenda, we're going to go over what Cleanology is and the pricing challenge they pose to us. We're going to cover our market and the competitive analysis. We're going to talk about what customers value, as well as the current pricing model and the ideal pricing model based on a break-even analysis, and then give some concrete recommendations and marketing tactics for our client. He was supposed to be here today, but his daughter is sick, so sadly he's not. I'm going to need a volunteer, so someone who's familiar with men's dry cleaning shirts. You're right there. Put down that icon. Here, come on out. So I need you to inspect these 2 shirts, and aside from color and brand, tell me if you notice anything different about them, particularly as it relates to dry cleaning.
Remove the plastic.
You can rip the plastic.
Don't stain the shirt.
Yeah, these are UV shirts, so.
I'll be nice to you.
Smell, feel.
You can try it. Don't work too hard.
Smell it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of them is probably a starch. I don't know, maybe.
No, no special. Just dry cleaning, standard dry cleaning.
Pressure. Is there a difference?
That's a great question. So, no. Like I said, our client has 2 stores. One is on 59th and one is on 51st. And the only difference between the 2 stores is that getting a shirt dry cleaned at the 59th Avenue and Bell store will cost you $4.50. You get a dry cleaned at the 51st and Thunderbird store, it'll cost you $2.75. So in reality, it's kind of a commodity dry cleaning in Glendale, and we investigated how price sensitive our customers were and whether or not it was important for them to differentiate on other things. So our pricing challenge was, will bringing price parity to these standard items increase profits for our client? So we had to answer that. And then the second question was, do customers value additional services such as same-day delivery or like same-day service for pickup and delivery? So we also answered that. And if they did, how much were they willing to pay for it? So moving on, we're going to have Jorge talk about the very unique Glendale market, which many of you are familiar with.
Glendale, Arizona is the home of 232 people, 200,000 people, and divide 49 in males and 50% approximately in females. The median age is 37 years old, and the median income is $48,000, below the national average. And the market is dominated by low-cost dry cleaners. In the radius of the Cleanology store, we can find 5 dry cleaner stores. And the lowest price is Centurion, and the highest price is the second store of Cleanology. And the average per garment is $3.11. Now Sebastian will introduce the customer.
Yeah, as we talk in our conjoint analysis, our clients will divide it in 3 groups. The first group is the lower in quantity of people, with only 4%, so we are not focused in this group. We focus in the sweaters and the spoiler wraps. The sweaters are the clients that are allowed to pay the higher price, prefer the same-day service and the pickup delivery service. They also try to find the laundry between 1 and 3 miles of their homes. Thinking in the spoiler wraps, they are 75% of our clients, and they are allowed to pay the lower price, $2.75, trying to find the stores very close to their homes, and they don't care about the service or if the same day service or not delivery service. So we are focused in this group, and now Erik, continue with the pricing model.
Yeah, so our client, well, first we got the conjoint analysis, which allowed us to segment the market, understand what the 2 different clusters we're really focusing on value, and get some incremental values from that conjoint analysis differentiated services. But our client also gave us some revenue and volume information, which allowed us to begin the process of doing a break-even analysis. In particular, we could take these 2 points, at his 59th store, you got his volume, his price, and his overall revenue. And similarly, we have the same data for the 51st store, except for you can see that the volume is much higher in the 51st store at this 275 price point. This allows us to approximate the demand curve between these 2 points and predict essentially what the volume would be for a price point in between 275 and 450. So we made an equation for the volume. Basically, it indicates that for a $1 reduction in price from the 450, we have an increase in volume of 8,995 units. Of course, the problem is that the blue line represents our approximation. The actual demand curve may be something like the red line or the purple line. However, we think that the maximum willingness to pay at all for anybody for dry cleaning is pretty close to the $5, $6, $7 range. And so approximating that line, or approaching that price point, we'd expect a really rapid reduction in demand. Similarly, going lower than the 282, people are sort of at a point where they may not want to consume additional dry cleaning, so we would see a steeper curve. So we do think the purple line is a close approximation to the demand curve, which would indicate that our approximation error is basically we're under predicting volume relative to what we think the demand is between these 2 points. But the other problem is that our client didn't really have very good data on their actual costs, and so to do a break-even analysis, we needed to create some hypothetical cost structures. So I have cost structure 1 is a really high variable cost structure. Down to cost structure 5, which is a very low variable cost structure. And then we took that and ran a bunch of hypothetical price changes. And so we used our approximated demand curve to predict what demand would be, and then compared that to, for the same price change, what our break-even amount would need to be to make that price change profitable. For example, go back to the 59. Sorry. So we came to a 55-cent price reduction based on a break-even environment under cost structure 3, which is basically scenario 8 right there, green. That would require a 25% increase in volume. Based on our approximation of the demand curve, we would see a 25.59% increase. So we would execute that price change, essentially, based on that. But if you compare that to scenario 13, which is a 75-cent price reduction to the 59th store, you'll see that it still suggests that we should execute, or it does not suggest that we should execute it, even though the profitability, basically, so we see a diminishing total contribution margin from those 2 points, so I don't think that you should continue to reduce prices below that $3.95 for the 59th store. Similarly, at the 51st store, our model indicates basically that we should even increase prices up to $1.50, but we're nervous about that because we feel like we're losing information about our clusters, particularly our primary cluster, which represents 75% of the market, which is very price sensitive. So we don't necessarily suggest increasing the prices of the 54th store as rapidly as the break-even analysis suggests. But Akshay will take it away.
All right, so now that we have some time to digest some of these fantastic numbers that you shared with us, let's see what these numbers actually mean for Cleanology. We've been given 2 basic criteria to figure out. Basically, should we have parity between both stores, and how much are customers willing to pay for each of the individual services that they're offering. So what we propose is that Cleanology have one price point, which is $3.95 between both stores. However, they need to increase the price from the 51st and increase the price from 59. This can be done simultaneously. This needs to be done 1 store at a time. And I think what we believe as a team is that we can't increase the price from 51st straight away because you alienate some of the customers. So increase the price first and see how that goes. And then maybe a few months later, once the demand has kind of filtered out, you change prices on the 51st. So this is for the second part of the question, what we need to answer is how much are customers willing to pay for same-day service and pickup and delivery. So the additional amount amounts that they're willing to pay is $1 and $2 respectively. So for one of our segments, which is cluster 2, the suitors, if we charge the maximum, that it exceeds their willingness to pay. So we suggest that we charge $695 as a bundle for both the services, and charge $695 for the entire customer segment. And by doing that, we leave some money on the table, and there's some utility for the customers as well. So our final pricing, as you can see for 59, when we reduce the prices, the volume will go up. Profits will not rise substantially; they'll rise by 2,700. But that depends on the cost structure. As Erik mentioned, we don't know exactly what the cost structure is. But for 51st, if we increase the price, the volume will come down. But that will give us a profit anywhere between $12,000 and $26,000. So I think that again depends on the cost structure. Now I think, just to summarize, Kelly's going to give us a few more recommendations which should go hand in hand with the pricing changes.
So moving forward on Professor Hall's point is we really looked at this from a holistic perspective. So we wanted to give our clients some tangible tactics that he could implement as kind of a mom and pop shop. And we know now from our analysis that his goal is to really attract and keep new customers, whether that means they're new to dry cleaning or he's stealing them. So these recommendations are based on that. So the first recommendation we have is that clients really, really value clear pricing and signage. If you look at the Cleanology sign, would you even necessarily know that that was a dry cleaner? Probably not. Many of you have driven by it and probably thought maybe it was a vacuum cleaner store or something like that. But typically in Glendale, dry cleaners have a very clear basic sign, usually in red, that says cleaners. The picture that you see here on the right is Centurion, which is their main competitor. When you walk into Centurion, you walk in and you see a sign and it says $2.25 per standard item. So you know immediately, without having to look down or anywhere, that that's how much it costs. Right now, at the 51st Avenue and Thunderbird store, Cleanology has an easel that says $2.75 dry cleaning, but it's right by the front door. So by the time you get to the front door, you already know how much it costs. You've been there before. You can't see it driving on 51st or on Thunderbird. At the 59th Avenue location, many of you have seen this sign. It's a pylon, and Steinmart is located in there, and as well as I think Wendy's and maybe Arby's. But they need to get on that pylon at the bare minimum so that people can see it driving by. The next recommendation we have, and this was based on a lot of market research driving around to dry cleaners in the local area, is that their customers, the way that they attract new customers is by printing the coupons on the back of those grocery receipts. I don't know if many of you have seen that at Fry's or Safeway up the road, but the customers in Glendale are value oriented, and they cut those things out and they bring them into car washes, dry cleaners, etc. So we contacted this company. They handle all of the groceries in the area, and Cleanology could have their coupon printed on the back of a receipt for approximately $4,000 per year per store, which would give them a return of 800,000 to 1.2 million coupons per year to their target customers. So it's a very inexpensive way to increase eyes on your business and hopefully attract customers. Some small recommendations we have based on, again, on conversations we had with managers or create a loyalty program. There's one dry cleaner in the area that has a loyalty program in which customers pay a base yearly fee, and then they get access to special pricing that nobody else knows about, and they also can connect their debit card or their credit card so they're automatically deducted when they make purchases. Another area Cleanology can improve on is customer service. Their Yelp reviews were not positive. Little things such as text notification when items are ready, or even investing in technology such as tracking customers and orders and creating a way for them to interface with a website would be a great idea. Another simple thing that they could do is a summer months coupon campaign. In Arizona, demand for dry cleaning drops drastically when it's really hot. So a way to incentivize people to do dry cleaning during that time is offer summer months coupons during June and July. So thank you. Those are our recommendations, and we'd like to take your questions.
Why did the owner have different prices in those two locations in the first place? What was his motivation?
He bought them that way. So he's from a pharma marketing background and got out of that business to kind of be an entrepreneur and have more freedom. So he bought these two Glendale area dry cleaners that were for sale at the time, and the one that was on 51st was so low priced that she went out of business. I think she was $2 an item, so she wasn't making money. And then, so he just upped it a little bit to $275 because she obviously wasn't working. And then the 59th one, I think he just kept them the exact same way. He hasn't changed anything in 2 years. So I think this will be really, really helpful for him moving forward, especially as he buys more dry cleaners.
And going back, can you go back to the demand curve?
Yep.
Now, was that, now, this is a little bit complex, but was that demand curve pulled from both dry cleaners, or
Yeah,
was it
so
just
if
one?
you go back to one more slide. So basically took those, so X is, X axis would be volume, Y axis would be price.
Okay.
Take 2 points, draw a line between them, and then using that predict volume given a fixed price.
Oh, okay, okay. So you use those 4 data points?
2 data points, the 2 stores, right?
Right, but 4 data, but
Yeah.
4 data points from 2 stores. Okay.
We also calculate elasticity of recommendation.
Why does the demand fall in the summer?
I don't think people wear suits or a long sleeve or a lot of, I think that, especially in Glendale, it's very casual, if you haven't noticed.
Less people here.
Vacation, the snowbirds come when it's, winter here, so a lot of them, I think has to do with so much with like the Glendale demographic. It's so unique. Talking to one owner, the Centurion guy who's been in the business for about 15 years, he said that 10 to 15 years ago, business was booming. And then it's just drastically tapered off. And it probably has to do with job loss, the economy, things like that. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot of development going on out in Peoria, North Peoria, around Peoria Sports Complex, things like that. So if he has a good pricing model at the right time, I think he could do quite well.
No, I think the economy has really hurt dry cleaning, because I've heard a lot of stories, especially in some of the more affluent neighborhoods, not Glendale per se, but like in Paradise Valley or North Scottsdale. When before the economic crisis, right? I mean, people over there used to have a lot of parties over the weekends, right? And they would wear, couple $100, party dresses, or even $1,000, over $1,000 party dresses, or suits, tuxedos, and so forth to dress up for those parties. And after each party, they would bring them to the dry cleaners, right? Because, after you worn them. And to dry clean those apparel, they charge a ton of money. It's not like, $250 or $4. These are like, they could be like $70, $80, $100 to dry clean, $1,000 or $2,000, party dress. But these owners have said that once the economic crisis hit, all of that just changed totally. No more, expensive luxury, clothes coming in for dry cleaning. So one big chunk of revenue that they saw before totally just disappeared, because of uncontrollable, economic, factors. But that's in a different neighborhood, and this is in Glendale. But dry cleaners, they don't engage in that much marketing. That's for sure. All they do is probably coupons. That's probably the most they would do. But yeah, like you said, in terms of like loyalty programs or membership, or I think there could be so many creative ways to expand the customer base and be a little more, I guess, customer relationship oriented, I would say. But they don't, or maybe they just don't know. I don't know. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.